come true. Thy dreams come true.
Hi everybody, welcome to Work in Progress Podcast. I'm Tubbs,
I'm Rachel.
I'm Dale.
and we're here with the next episode, or as you know, the current episode.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thanks for coming.
It's great having you here.
We love you all.
Well, that's kind of a push.
We can get there.
I'm in like with some of you. Today we have some topics for you. Hopefully some fun segments. And if you want to hear more of us talk about anything,
More of us.
talk about anything. If you'd like to hear us talk about more things, is that better?
Is there more of you that we don't know about?
Maybe. You don't know. Maybe I have a twin. Maybe I killed him at birth. You don't know. You can get us on Instagram, at WIPP Podcast. Our email is artistwhip@gmail.com. Our YouTube is the Work in Progress Podcast. And we have a Facebook that apparently I never wrote down, so you guys don't hear about it ever. But it is Art WIPP. ARTWIPP, because I was not smart enough to look up how to make Facebook for a podcast. You're welcome. So how are you guys doing?
Good.
I'm good. Yeah.
Are you happy with life, Dale?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you happy with life, Rachel?
I am.
Are you sure?
Do we need to talk about something that maybe I don't know about? About my life?
Funny story about your truck.
No, I'm good. Yeah, I like where it's headed.
That's cool.
Yeah. Doing things for my own. More and more.
By the time this podcast comes out, you should know if you've closed on your house, right?
Should, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah. You guys tired of hearing about the house?
No.
Good.
The listeners sent some emails, but other than that. No, I think it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like I'm at a good spot in my life right now. Mm-hmm.
It's good to hear. That's what you want to be.
Yeah. Could you guys say that you love who you are?
Yeah. I do now. I would say. Where'd everybody go?
You were...
Oh.
Dale was pointing a laser up, so I blew smoke towards the laser, and for some reason it went directly in his face.
There was definitely a point in my life in the past where I wasn't. I think it had to do with just me not knowing enough about myself, not knowing who I am, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm good now.
That's good.
One man
One thing that,
on a journey of self-discovery.
for me, one thing that helped me the most with that is sculpting, learning. Because I guess I've always been an artist at heart. I would say I've never called myself an artist until I learned how to sculpt. Even though I've been drawing my whole life, I plateaued at drawing a long time ago. So
Mm-hmm. It's good.
yeah, it was good. Sculpting is the best thing that happened to me.
Tubbs, I'm going to say yes, you are in love with yourself.
I'm not like conceited or self-centered. I just love how awesome I am.
I think
Pretty good place to be.
I think you can be in love with yourself, not in a conceited way, but you appreciate who you are.
Well, right now, when you ask Dale, are you happy with yourself, or how'd you ask him? You phrased the question a certain way.
Do you love who you are?
Do you love who you are? You're the only you there is.
Boom.
If you do or don't like yourself, is irrelevant. You can change who you are if it
You can
makes
have
you
a big
unhappy.
impact on yourself, though. I mean,
I don't know why that made me laugh.
well, I mean,
I just thought of somebody giving an interview. I feel like I was the biggest impact of my life. That's all I was.
I'd like to thank me.
Think me. But no, but from my point of view, at least, you're you, and you can change stuff about you don't like. It's gonna suck. That's one of the hardest things I think is about change. I mean, in relationships, when people are in relationships, whether it be friendships, people you love, people you choose to love, family. When you're in those kind of relationships, when you change, those relationships can be altered. Just, I mean, for example, you're golfing. You probably didn't hang out with all the same people you did when you were golfing. Now that you're woodworking,
Oh, it's a totally different
there
crowd.
was a progression of people, and that's what I'm saying. If you want to change who you are, it's gonna suck. But how much do you like you? And can you be a better you? If you can, make the leap. Go for it. Any decision you make is gonna affect your life.
Can you change who you are? You can change things about yourself, but
I think you can.
I think you
because so
can.
many people
'Cause
talk
you're
about
you.
finding themselves.
Well, when I hear that, I think you're you, and you evolve. Little thing, you're not you 5 months ago. You're also not you 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You've changed because of things that have happened in your life. Because if you were stagnant, you probably wouldn't be where you're at today. That's what I mean. I don't mean as a.
Could you say currently this is who I am? This is what I like. These are the people that I'm around.
Yeah, but that's also what I'm saying. You're you. Are you happy with where you're at? Well, if you're unhappy, you change it, or at least you try.
Yeah, I think it comes down to where instead of find out what you don't like, you find out
What you like more?
what you like more about yourself and what you want more in your life. Like the people you want to be around, or the environment that you're in, the job that you're in, and whatever. You find more about what you want. Because if you sit there and think about like, well, this is what I don't want. This is what you're just compounding the negativity on yourself emotionally, and you're just attracting more of it instead of like, well, this is what I want more of in my life.
Like when I talk to you guys, and I'm pretty sure I said it on the podcast a couple times. I do stuff that makes me happy. There is some stuff you do that maybe doesn't immediately make you happy, but you know that it makes you happy because you're helping somebody else out, and that makes you feel good. I mean, all people say being selfless helps out, giving other. I help people out because it feels good. I feel good when I help
For
somebody.
you or for them?
For me, I don't give a shit about them. But like people that give life advice, or people have made pretty big. I think we were talking about that when we were talking about your house and the decisions you were making towards your house, and you're getting ideas and different opinions from people. To me, when people give unoffered advice, in my head, I think everybody changes, but part of me also thinks like, would you live your life the way I want you to live your life? Probably not. So why do you expect me to do the same for you?
Well, that brings
Because
up.
because I don't think I know better for you than you know for yourself.
Well, remember when I was telling you about how when you ask people for their advice, they're going to give you the opinion that works best for them. It's like when you go to a car salesman and you say, hey, well, what do you think is best for me? Well, ultimately, they're going to be telling you what's best for them to sell to you. And so you kind of have to, when you ask for people their opinions or their advice, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt in a way, to not take it as like, oh my gosh, I need to do this. This is where they're coming out from their experience. You may not have that same experience, that same version of reality, because everybody has their own version of reality. And so you take their opinion for what it is, and if that situation happens, and be like, yeah, okay, I see what you're talking about with this thing, but a lot of the times you don't have the same experience as another person.
No, and while you were saying that, I was thinking, when you ask me for advice, I look at it as if I were in your situation, I would do this based on the outside looking in.
But you're also basing that off of your perception of what.
Well, yeah, but when you describe the car salesman, you make it sound like it's completely selfish. Like, it's beneficial to the person giving you the advice. That's what I thought. That's what I think asking other people for advice are. From your point of view, looking outside into me, what do you think about this? And you would give this is what I think, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I would take that and take into consideration why you would be thinking that way, because there are ways you can approach something that I might not have thought of that might be an easier fix for, whether it's a life situation, a financial situation, a project I'm working on. something I'm working on for my house that's very specifically me or my family, it's a different view on that. Personal advice like that, when it's asked of me, and I give people my opinion all the time, unsolicited advice, because I'm a terrible human being. But when I do that, at least I try to think, if I were in your shoes, what would I do? Or if I had your situation, how would I handle it? And that's where at least I think I come from when somebody says, "What do you think?" You know. Mm-hmm. That's why when you said the car salesman thing, I'm like, well, I don't do it because I'm like, Rachel, you're about to buy a house. If you made it into a bar so I can visit you a lot, that would be great for you. Like, I don't think of it that way. But when you say, hey, what do you think about the backyard? I would think, what do you like to do? Well, I like to sit outside by a fire sometimes. I like to grill, and I like to chill. Well, then build a big ass awning, put a grill next to it, put a stove on or a vent on top of it, throw a fire pit in the middle of that, and throw some hammocks around it. You like hammocks? That, I think that wouldn't benefit me in any way, but if I like to do the things you do, that's what I would like to do.
It kind of goes back to our last conversation about perception.
Yeah.
And depending on somebody's state of mind at that moment, and you ask for their advice, well, what do you think I should do for this house? Well, don't put in fucking sprinklers because they fucking buzz line, blah, blah. I'm like, well, all right, cool. Next.
Why don't you just say, ask me later?
Yeah. So it's hard to ask somebody for their advice unless you know that they're in a good state of mind at that
It's also
moment.
kind of on you to make sure they're not. Like, my mom just died. So, for this wall, teal? Or
Yeah.
we going gray? What are you feeling? Like,
Tears.
the memory of a loved one. Do they have that color? But you know what I mean? Like,
My mom's favorite color was this.
I don't want to think
I don't
about your
like that
mom.
color.
She's dead, and now it's sad for me.
Yeah. She died 2 hours ago. Come on.
Get over it. But that's why, like, when you say it, I think I could see your point, because you're right. I mean, a car salesman's not going to be like, if I don't make any money on this, so you'd save like $6,000.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Yeah.
But in a situation where it's you asking a friend for advice, that's going to be completely differently than if you're asking like a welder for advice and you don't know how to weld. You know woodworking. So if I said, hey Rachel, I'm making this cutting board. I have these kind of woods. This is the pattern I want to go with. Probably herringbone. 'Cause I don't know
Redwood.
why. What?
Redwood.
Redwood cutting board. Best cutting board ever.
It's not.
It's the best. Look it up. I'll make them, sell them. Give me a call. But I'm trying to make this cutting board. What do you think of this? Based on your experience and the stuff you've done, you're gonna approach that with. He's probably I'm making it for my mom. Oh, he's making it for his mom. He's gonna want to use something like this. If his mom chops a lot of meat, she's probably gonna want a harder.
Got some milk in there.
Harder wood.
Just trying to soften me up before she lies down.
A harder wood. Like, you're gonna approach it from your experience, knowing that you know a lot about woodworking. I'm gonna say, well, I like this idea, and I'm gonna do it this way, but I'm asking you your opinion on something so I can like expand the way I'm looking at something from my point of view. So when somebody asks me, I try to do that same thing. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're asking like a welder, like, hey, I only have this much money, and there's nothing wrong with welders. I don't know what welders the asshole in the story, but if you're like, I want to make this, I'm just like, really, we got to use this kind of metal, and if you don't do any of these kind of welds or make it like this, it's stupid. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not what I needed to hear, and I know you're not giving me what I need to hear. I just need you to help me make something simple.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I asked my brother-in-law, who's been a welder for a long time, Boilermaker, and now he's a safety guy, and I asked him, well, what's a good helmet? Well, right away he throws out like $300 or $400 helmets, and I'm like,
If you get anything less than that, you're stupid and go to hell and die. Like, okay.
But I understand where he's coming from, because your eyes are very important.
You can't get another one. They're really hard to replace.
So, I mean, yeah, could I have gone to Harbor Freight and bought a helmet, welding helmet? Yeah, I could have, but in the end,
you're too good for that, so you wouldn't got one.
well, I found a middle ground that I could afford. So, I think when you ask for somebody's advice, you could take what they're saying, but you have to also be realistic with your life budget or where you want to be in the end, your end goal.
What should I do for a bathroom? All granite everywhere, floors, walls, shower.
Marble.
It's gonna cost like $10,000.
Yeah.
I have $200. Wait till you have $10,000 then.
Yeah, don't talk to me.
You're not helping.
So there's so many different ways of looking at somebody's advice, but I think some people get butt hurt and they're like, well, they just told me this. Well, you didn't have to take it
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. You
don't have to do what they tell you. You're an
Yeah,
adult. You
yeah.
can do adult things.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Advice is kind of an interesting thing because it could come from so many different angles.
Well, it also depends on who you're asking, and like you said, I think motivations do have a lot to do with it, but the motivations can come from a friend who, like, if you're asking a friend, hey, I want to make a cutting board and I need to make it like with this much money. Well, these are realistically what you're going to be spending, and if I have to make it for you, it's going to be $10,000.
Mm-hmm. That would be an amazing board. Oh, no, I'm good. It's like a 1990 cell phone.
We have to do
Battery.
visual things on a podcast.
Oh, God dang it.
Anywho,
what were we talking about?
Eventually, this should be a video podcast.
yeah, eventually it should be. We should take a picture of ourselves
Mm-hmm.
in the mirror. There's a mirror in the room.
I'm a
I was doing visual
photographer
things
'cause
too.
That makes me behind the camera.
There's a picture of you on the Instagram page. Did I tell you about that? There's a picture of you on the Instagram page.
What in the world?
But yeah, that's where I land on the advice thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back to our.
I know somebody that loves to tell people what they should do. You know what you should do? You should really, and then telling somebody that said golly, I can't talk right now. When that person meets another person that tells people what they should do, they tell that other person, you should really stop telling people what they should do.
Have a nice day. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's funny, the hypocrisy on my part, not anybody else, but on my part, in that there's times that it's stuff that annoys me is stuff I do, and I think that's partly why it annoys me.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I'm like, you should totally do this. That'd be a great idea. And sometimes I have friends like that that are like, are you really going to tell me what I should be doing in my own house? I guess I just did. My bad.
My favorite comeback is, are you paying my bills? No, then shut the fuck up.
Can you pay my bills?
I'd rather not.
So what do we have for
For today's topics, we have...
topics?
Dale, pick a number between 1 and 4.
Oh, God. We have
You
time?
get one chance.
2.5? That's between.
Rachel, pick a number between 1 and 4. A prime number.
2 points. Oh.
Just make it weird. Pick a number between 1 and 4.
5.
All right, we're doing number 3. You guys had a chance to be treated like
Win
adults
for
and
us,
you chose not
Dale.
to.
Win made him do it. Like
What's
how we-
something you see or experience that immediately puts you in a creative mood?
What? Read that again?
No. What's something you see or experience that immediately puts you in a creative mood? I said see or experience because it could be something you're watching or like something a song you hear, music or Nah, man.
Well, as far as watching like movies, Guillermo del Toro movies really make me want to make monsters. He always has the best monsters in his movies. The coolest, most original. Even if they are inspired by something else, he as a director, he gets the right people to make his monsters, and he picks the right ones out of what they make, and that inspired me.
Rachel.
People inspire me, but sometimes when what?
People inspired the positive. I was like, people, man, that's fucking powerful. You running for president or something? Inspired by the people.
America.
That
That sounded horrible.
That sound is not what it sounds like.
Or is
So either people or the material that I'm using.
Two completely opposing things.
For closure, that was Tubbs shaking up some juice for his vape. Continue.
Or was it?
Oh, gross. So yeah, it's a couple things. Sometimes I'll see like a piece of wood and I'll look at the grain and be like, oh my gosh, it would look really cool either as a cutting board or as a scoop or something, like to just accentuate the grain in it, or be cool as a table or whatever. Yeah. And then sometimes that Phoenix Creations I was telling you about, they're out of Australia and they'll make like scoops and other things out of reclaimed wood.
Uh-huh.
And that's inspiring to me. Be like, oh, gosh, that's so cool that they can do that. So, yeah, it's good, huh?
Different.
Get it.
For me, I think it's watching other people create or looking what other people create.
I don't think we asked him
Oh.
if we could. Tubbs.
Thank you guys. No, when I watch somebody make something, and it's not so much like they made this, I have to make one like it, or I want to make one like it. When somebody makes a floating shelf, in my head I'm like, floating shelves are cool. I should make a floating shelf. And this is just like the 15 seconds intro to their video. Today we're going to make a floating shelf. And while I'm watching the video, I'm like, I would do that different.
I don't know how to do this because that's why I'm watching this video, but
Basically, yeah. Like, some of the stuff is like if you already know how certain wood works or how it would come together when you watch somebody else do something. Because a lot of times it's just somebody making something like a DIY project, and they kind of start out like super basic. If all you have is a hand saw and you just went and bought wood, and they tell you how to do stuff, I'm like, well, I could do it this way, and that's how my head starts to come up with ideas, or when we're talking or when I'm having a conversation with somebody and somebody says, bring something up or something that something will stick into my head, and then it'll just fester into like, I need to make this. When I first started, like I've said before, I started restoring stuff, and I still restore stuff, or try to restore stuff, I should say. That was a really big hit because I saw, or a really big like trigger for me. Triggered, because I would see like furniture or dressers, and I was like, that's pretty beat up. It wouldn't take too much to make that look like this. And then I would, like when you're painting a video game, I would see the old dresser and then like just put different skins on it until it reached something I thought would look cool, and then I would get like, okay, this is what I have to do to get it to look like that, and then I would work on it. So I think it's basically saying in your way, like when you see a piece of wood or a grain of wood or a specific cut or something, you're like, this should be this. Like that little, I made my wife a necklace for Mother's Day, or a pendant, I should say, for Mother's Day. It's like an ironwood almost in the shape of a teardrop type situation with a pearl in it. Well, that was actually a cutoff from when I was helping my buddy cut some ironwood. And I remember it like, it was like, that would look cool as something small, and I usually don't make small things, but that would look cool as something small, and I just set it aside. I knew where it was. I didn't like put it in a shrine and say this is gonna be something one day. But when I was thinking of something to make watch for Mother's Day, I like working with wood. My wife likes jewelry, so I was in Hawaii a couple years ago, and they have these little pearls you can, like you pay $5, $15 something, and you can crack open the little shell and get the pearl out. And they always tap them to put them in jewelry, and I was like, don't! So I would stay with my wife like just the pearls. So I took one of the pearls I had gotten her and I set it in there, and I was like, that looks like something somebody made. Oiled it up, and I was like, hey, happy Mother's Day. She's like, this looks awesome, but I already knew that was going to be something like that. I just never got to that. It just set aside until I thought of what it was going to be. In that same way that you do that is kind of how it's either got to be something I need or something that I don't know how to describe it. Because I know it's not like music. I'm not listening to music and I'm like, oh, or I see a dresser that somebody else made and say I have to make something like that. It's usually something I see that needs work, and I'm like, I can fix that. or something that I see that can be something else that I'm like, I want that now so I can break it. There's times I've bought stuff that's new to take it apart so it can be something else. And it's usually not expensive stuff, but something I'm like, this could be this. Why is it this right now? Let's take you home and make you something else. But it's like little spontaneous stuff like that. Because I don't think any of the projects in my backyard actually started off as what they were supposed to be. I was like, this would look cool. Look, I did a Rachel. I asked a question and answered it completely differently than everybody else. Turned it into my own thing.
I think we do that with a lot of topics.
Yeah, usually.
It's okay.
No, it's not. We have a schedule to stick to.
Oh.
Not a schedule. We have a guideline to stick to.
No fun zone.
This isn't supposed to be fun.
Oh, this is serious.
This is serious.
It
All right.
says the guy with the shirt says straight out of Fox.
That's me. I'm the guy. I'm the guy.
The guy with the shirt.
My sister got it for me for Father's Day. Probably not a good message for me as a father, but I really love the shirt.
Listen, son.
Dad, I'm bleeding. Rub some dirt on you. Be all right.
Read my shirt.
And then he cusses and I hit him because I'm abusive. I'm not abusive.
No, he's not.
No, because my wife will
He
hit
just
me.
hits Dale and I. You made me hate
Really
you.
on the podcast? You want to tap it down in front of people?
No, I can't hate you.
I don't like it when you make me hit you. All right. 1, 2, or 4. Those are your only options.
Oh. Oh, seriously, just about to say 3.
That's not an option. 2. Sculptures being defaced. Do you think people idolize sculptures too much? That's kind of in lieu of recent events, but it also has a little bit to do with people freaking out when sculptures get dropped, taken down, moved, altered, is what I assume, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because, not to say that this is the first time that this has happened in history, but it's happened.
In light of recent
I've seen
events.
Clash of the Titans, they dropped the one of Zeus into the ocean.
Because when the Spaniards went to, was it? They defaced a lot of Mayan sculptures and stuff like that. So this isn't nothing new as far as things being.
This is nothing new.
So I don't know. I think sometimes people put too much responsibility or project their hate and anger towards an object that it's not going to come to life and do bad things. I don't know.
Who made this monstrosity? Like, they paid me to do it. That's, I like money, and they paid me to make it.
Yeah.
Don't blame me.
I don't know. I think humans project too much.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think as far as like statues being torn down and defaced, I really think it, for the people doing that stuff, it being a piece of art or something that somebody worked on means very, very little to the people tearing it down.
Mm-hmm.
People that are artists see that differently. Yeah.
I can,
That's-
I can understand like if there's some bad blood or whatever, and there's a sculpture of that person or people, and you look at them every day and be like, okay, you assholes, or asshole, or whatever. You're a reminder of what happened. It's
Yeah.
like, well, history is a constant reminder.
Yeah.
I don't know.
well, I think stuff like sculptures, statues, stuff like that is part of history. The reason I don't care for it being torn down, not that I'm not gonna protest or anything, but the reason I don't think it doesn't benefit history in any way.
No, it doesn't.
Why not change the plaque in front of it and tell a better story or
Something like that, or but leave the original one up. Like, this is what it meant at one point. This is what it means now.
Yeah.
There's horrible, like the swastika. It's a Tibetan symbol of peace, isn't it? When it's
When it's not
90
turned at
degrees
an
to the
angle.
ground.
Yeah, when it's turned at an angle, that's a Nazi symbol.
And-
But if it's
Yeah,
So, well, anyways, if you
I don't
look
know
it
how to
up,
describe it.
Have you guys ever seen that bridge here in town that has them on it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the swastika though, right? It's
No, it's a Tibetan one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the actual name of it is, but
Mm-hmm.
if I say swastika, everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that was changed. And I mean, when you look at that now, people immediately hate, sadness, despair. They have all kinds of thoughts of that, but it's what it means to whoever put it up.
Yeah. There was a tattoo I wanted to get of a.
Please don't get a swastika.
Well, it was a.
She's like just right below my eye.
No, it's a drawing of the. Oh shit! Here we go again. I'm gonna forget. Damn it! Of Buddha, and his hands were in a certain position to ward off evil. Well, on the hand was the Tibetan symbol for peace, which it's not the swastika. I forget what they call it, but it was on the hand, and I'm like, well, if I get that tattoo, people are gonna freak out and call me a white supremacist or whatever. And it's like, no, do your research, and you'll see that it's not in the diagonal position that the Nazis have.
It's still called a swastika.
Oh, okay.
According to Wikipedia.
I don't know. People can take things that are meant for peace and turn them into something evil real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're really good at that as humans.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think it's. I don't know. I don't think we're learning from history.
I can. I don't know if definitely. I don't think empathize or sympathize necessarily, but I can sort of take a hard outside look at the way people react to things, and I can understand why they feel the way they do. I don't feel that way, but I can understand why they feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody's going to change their mind. It's not up to anybody to change their mind. They're going to feel the way they feel
Yeah.
regardless. And trying to educate them, or as some people see it, I don't think it's going to make a difference.
No. It's no matter what I think no matter what people do to sculptures or paintings or whatever, the history is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you think you're trying to erase history, it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
And as far as like what is the real truth about history, because
Is it though? Because I'm thinking of the sculptures that are in the Vatican. They cut all their junk off, and they replaced it with leaves.
Yeah.
After that, well, they did. They
They
chipped
did
it
it
all
because
off.
somebody was visiting. Who was visiting?
I don't know, some douche apparently.
Yeah.
But he didn't like seeing dicks on statues, I guess. So they cut them all off and they put leaves there. And a lot of art after that has leaves where generals should be.
yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I think it does influence, and I mean, a lot of people wouldn't know that unless they looked up the history to it.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's going to do that. So I mean, it does affect people's view on that art, because some people will never. Some people will only know it as a statue that has a leaf where the generals are.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a dumb example, but it's you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
because it's. You guys are artists, and around artists, it's a known situation,
Yeah.
but other people it's not.
And there's another thing too. It's like history is what somebody teaches you. So if they don't want you to know the full truth, they'll say, "Oh no, this is what really happened," to kind of influence you in your thinking to either like a certain group or hate a certain group or whatever. I don't know. I guess my viewpoint on the history that we're being taught is. I don't think it's the full.
No, definitely not.
Not the full truth. So, for somebody to go off and do something like tear down a statue, I'd be like, okay, do you really know the whole? I'm not saying that slavery or whatever didn't happen, but on things, it's like, do you really know? Can you wholeheartedly say that you know the truth
I don't think so.
on this history? No, because you're just going off of what somebody told you. You weren't there physically. You're just going off of what somebody told
You
you.
have to do research. Research is so hard.
Yeah, but even research too, you're still going off of somebody's perspective on something, and it's hard to say, well, this is what really happened. Unless you're really there.
Well, to play the devil's advocate, you say that from the other side too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you don't know the real history. I do.
Well, that's fine, but I don't know. It's a tough subject. Well, it's not a tough subject. It's something.
Yeah.
While we ponder, let's go to the next one. Rachel, 1 or 4?
1.
Negativity in and art.
We were just talking. What about it?
I don't know. It's a topic. You said think of a topic. That's a topic. That's a topic all day. All day. That's a topic.
Well, why did you think about that topic?
Well, I was thinking about how can art be negative? If negative, is it causing you to feel something negative? Does it come from a negative place?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel negative when you look at it?
I think it depends on the person, honestly, because the stuff that I find inspirational, other people can say it's evil or it's negative. And to me, it's positive because it inspires me.
Well, it's just like your sculptures. Some people could look at your sculptures and be like, "Oh, that's evil," but then other people will be like, "No, it's not evil."
Yeah.
But is it negative?
If the person looking at it thinks of it that way.
I think a lot of the topics that we talk about deal with like a person's truth about their mindset
Yeah.
and how they view things, whether it's art or history or advice. Everything has to do with a person's mindset.
I guess because I think that was one of the topics that I brought up before. I don't know if we actually did it on the podcast or not. If we didn't, it sucks for you guys. This could have been on another episode. I know you guys are loving these episodes. But it was how does one's environment affect their art, and do you like art that comes from those environments or conditions, i.e., heartbreak, war, peace? I actually wrote i.e. That's why I read it. Sorry.
I.E.
No, I just did IE. I'm the only one reading it. I want to be accurate. Don't judge me. You know what I mean?
What's the question again? I'm sorry. I was entranced by your highlighting the paragraph topic question thing.
The question is, how does one's environment affect their art? And do you like art that comes from those environments or conditions, i.e. heartbreak, war, peace, etc.?
Dale.
I was playing with my cat and the laser pointer. So.
Come on, guys. It's falling apart on us. This whole situation's falling apart right now.
Let me read it for myself.
We're not even listening to our podcast right now. Well, if you stuck it out with us this far, sorry we're coming undone on you.
You're so good at this.
Well, yeah.
What?
Yeah. That's my answer.
No, it's a pretty good answer. Yes, you do like art that comes from heartbreak, war, and peace. You can't change that answer, bro.
This says, how does the environment affect it?
And do you like art that comes from those environments or conditions? And you said, yeah. Don't judge me, you read it.
Man of many words.
I
Well,
concur.
Yes. I think it's pretty obvious with art all throughout history how it's affected by things. I mean,
I just read the first part of the question that you answered, and that's not the answer. How does one's environment affect their art?
yeah.
Would you like to elaborate?
How does one's environment? Yes.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's pretty obvious through history.
I thought you took out the how does one's environment affect the art. The answer is yeah. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I read it and I was like, it says how does. It's not even the right answer to the question. Not that you could have been wrong. I'm just saying.
All throughout history, it's pretty obvious just by looking at the paintings, the old paintings and stuff, how it has affected it.
Answer C.
Fair.
When in doubt, see your way out.
Well, do you like art that comes from those kind of places though? Like let's say for example,
Absolutely not.
It's shit. No, art that comes from like depression, war. You know, is there a specific?
How
Is there a Pacific type? Is there
how
a
will I
specific
know
type?
if it's
Well, sometimes in the
from
like
those emotions?
like that one artist that painted himself and then committed suicide.
What?
That one artist, there's like he painted himself and he painted his face and he committed suicide.
In the painting?
Was he-
suicide?
No, he
Or?
committed suicide in real life after painting his face. And it
Huh.
has like blood on it. Like he used some of his own blood for the painting. Like how does that affect the way you feel about that?
Mm-hmm.
That would have been the best day ever. So Dale's playing with his cat with his laser pointer, and he ran it around his tripod, which is holding up his very nice SLR camera, and it almost fell.
Mm-hmm.
If that would have hit the ground, the first thing I would have said is, "Would you learn?" Before getting swung at.
I'm sorry.
That's
Have we
funny.
ruined this podcast?
Probably.
No.
Let's go.
This episode?
If we have,
Nah.
it's cool.
It's our podcast.
The people that are listening probably like the podcast.
It is 10 p.m. and I've been up since 2 a.m. So is Tubbs.
Word. That's how I do.
And I gotta pee. I'll be back. You guys talk. I'm gonna pee.
How does one's environment affect their art? Well,
Can you put it around?
You're good.
it affects it in many ways. That's a great answer. Let me tell you.
I can go back to Dale's answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you like?
Well, no. So what I was thinking is the how does art affect because I'm the one that came up with this topic. You're welcome. I guess maybe I worded it incorrectly, but I was thinking, is there a particular type of art that you like that you know comes from a dark place or a happy place, like a meadow?
Mm-hmm.
I draw happy places because I draw flowers. I think of happy things. Would you rather that kind of art, or would you rather art that came out of like some going crazy? Like when you see some of the artists, they make mental patients draw. They make mental patients draw so people sell that art, and there are some people that like that art because it was somebody with an altered mindset, or you know what I mean?
I know for me, it's like music. I like certain type of music depending on my state of mind, and so that's the same with art overall. It just depends on my state of mind at that moment. So it's just like I could look at if I'm in a chaotic, anxiety-filled mentality, I'm going to be attracted to art that's in the same energy. Or if I'm in a peaceful state of mind, then I'm going to attract that type of artwork. So I know for me, it's very much, I'm very mood dependent.
I didn't think about this until you said that, but I think that's the reason I don't have artwork up in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have to like the art, and when I look at it, it reminds me of a thing, like music does. It reminds me of a feeling or a thing. So I don't want a constant reminder of that if I'm not in that mood. That's how I feel about art sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
In my house, at least.
So Dale, while you're gone,
We covered that.
I was saying that it depends on my mood as far as like what art I'm attracted to, basically at that moment. So I don't have one particular period. There's furniture and stuff that I could be like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful, but that's changed over time. So I could say currently this is what I'm attracted to, but the art, it changes. Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. Convoluted question I ask. Convoluted topic.
It's your fault.
It is. All right, and the last one we have is, did we actually go to the moon? That one was submitted by Rachel at the last minute, right before we hit record.
Honestly, guys, I'm gonna tell you, I've never been there.
Yep. Some of us, I guess,
Who's
are more
we?
fortunate than others. Did we, as a human race, go to the moon?
I don't think everybody went.
Why are you attacking me? You're the one that asked the damn question.
Because I can.
You're stupid for asking that. That wasn't even my
Can you
question.
be more specific?
No. Rachel can. It was her question.
Okay, so lately, NASA's been criticized because they supposedly lost the telemetry data from like one of the most important events in United States history, as far as like the moon landing.
Oh, they recorded
They're the
over
cable
it.
guy special?
Huh?
They're the cable guy special?
What?
They didn't have any telemetry data.
No, they said they had telemetry. But anyways.
They had a bunch of tapes and stuff they recorded over.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be like the video that came from the telemetry data on the moon to NASA was perfectly clear, but what other people saw were ghost-like images and staticky but so over time they found out that that video was recorded over because there was a guy saying, well, we just thought of it as telemetry data, no big deal, and record over it. And it's like, so people are like, really, dude? Like, this is like one of the most important events in U.S. history, and you record
You couldn't
over
afford another tape?
Yeah, you couldn't label it. Like, of all this shit, this technology, you couldn't label it. I'm like, what the fuck? So there's a lot of question now as far as, like, okay, did we actually go to the moon? Because if you supposedly, with all these brainiacs in NASA, and this one little thing, you let that slip by, did we really go to the moon, or are you making up shit? So it's making people question even more. It's not helping NASA's case.
It doesn't really affect my life one way or the other.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. It's just
Because I love sci-fi. I think it would
do you
be
watch the Sci-Fi channel?
No, I don't have cable.
I have cables at my house. You can borrow some.
Okay, cool. Because we grew up hearing about landing on the moon, it doesn't seem that odd or that weird that we landed on the moon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It seems kind of like normal. That's what people did. So, for me personally, I think it would be more exciting if we found out we didn't actually go to the moon.
Yeah, me too. That's where I'm at with that. Like, I don't think the truth will ever come out.
Well,
It
depending on who you talk to, the
Yeah.
truth is already out. I mean,
True.
The truth is out there.
actually,
Yes.
completely depends on whether or not the Earth is flat. So,
I want to know how they have an eclipse if the Earth is flat.
but the Earth is flat.
Well, this month we're going to have an eclipse. Or did we already have an eclipse, depending on when this posts?
Eclipse of the heart.
But I guess it doesn't really bother me. We've talked about this a little bit before. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
I don't want to be that guy, but if the Earth is flat, it's not really affecting me.
Well, like somebody
I
asked me one
I
time.
don't believe the Earth is flat.
Are you sure, Dale?
Yeah.
Because you have a medallion that's a
Not yet. I want that. I want that medallion.
Did you notice it was round?
It's a disc.
That's true. Somebody asked me one time at work, like, because I was a female, because they're...
You're a female?
Yeah.
You don't look like a typical female. Oh, artist. Never mind. Go on.
Because I was asked by a group of men, kind of chauvinist in a kind of way, but it didn't bother me. And they asked me, well, what do you think? Do you think the Earth is flat or round?
Oh, I
was
thought
like,
they were going to ask you why you weren't in the kitchen. But go on. You said chauvinist. I immediately went to funny jokes.
And I asked him, okay, where are you coming at with this question? He goes, well, when we ask most females, they flip out and blah blah. And I'm like, well, let me tell you, dude. It's like, If somebody wants the Earth to be flat, it's gonna be flat. If somebody wants it to be round, it's gonna be fucking round. So, who gives a shit? It's your version of reality. And they're like, yeah, I don't care if it's flat or round. I really don't give a shit. I got shit to do.
I got bills to pay, regardless if it's a fucking cube.
As long as the shape of the earth doesn't stand in my way.
Yeah, I'm not sailing the ocean. I'm not whatever. I'm not doing anything that's going to be affected whether the Earth is flat or round. I'm like, who cares? If somebody wants to be flat, be flat. If you want to be round, let it be round all day.
Yeah, I'm the same way with politics sometimes too. Not to get into politics, but when people start pushing stuff, I'll answer the question the way I feel the question. Like, this is what I think is right. If you have an opinion that changes my mind, I'd like to hear it. If you're gonna yell at me, we're done talking. But I've said, well, this is what I think. I think, blah blah blah. Personal responsibility, this, that, ABC, and well, you need to stay woke. Okay, what you're saying is you don't agree with what I'm saying. I don't agree with what you're saying, and because of that, I'm not paying attention. That's not a valid point. That's just you attacking me for not agreeing with you. But cool, good for you. I mean, I'm glad you could do that. I don't care. There's stuff I care about. That's not one of them.
I think to a point you can be conscientious. I can't say it tonight. Of what's going on.
Conscienza. I got you.
But not take it to the point where it's taking you away from you living your life. Yeah. You can look at shit that's going on in the news, whether it's fake news, whatever, and be like, nah, I don't like that, but this is what I want. I'm going to take something from that and realize what I want in my life. And you can look at it as that, be awoke that way, I guess, but be more awake to what you're doing.
Not awake, woke.
Awoke, sorry.
No, not awoke, just woke.
What the fuck?
W-O-K, I don't know.
Okay, be woke.
Yeah.
Sounds so weird. To
stay woke.
That's
what they say. That's what the kids are saying these days, Rachel.
To what you're doing as an individual. You can't sit there and worry about the world problems and.
Well, we were having a conversation not too long ago, where the conversation had to do with it was something happening locally, and it was in the South somewhere. A person in the group of people we were talking to said, we're having these global issues with blah, 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 and these nations are trying to bomb us, and we're trying to avoid this, and you guys are worried about this one thing happening locally. And I looked at him, and I was thinking, what are you doing about the global problem you're bitching about?
Yeah.
You can talk to a congressman. You're not going to call up old Donnie T and tell him, hey, it's cool. I know him like that. You're not going to call up the president and say, hey, not cool, bro.
Stay woke.
Stay woke. But you're not going to do that. Locally, you can change that. And it breaks down to what both people, like his mentality is, this is a stupid thing to argue about. Mm-hmm. My mentality is, your thing's a stupid thing to argue about. There's somebody that thinks that my thing's a stupid thing to argue. It's fine. I mean, I get it. But you can only care about so many things, like when people attack about the environment. We have to do this and this and that. Well, then give up everything. You still live in a house. You consume.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to consume less. You're in a boat that's filling with water, mm-hmm. and you're throwing teaspoons of water out of the boat.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to attack it from that point, there are people that really go all the way environmentalists, and that's great. That's not something I care about. I don't hate the environment. I don't want one nation to die. I think there's a lot of stuff we're trying to do to get to that point. But attacking every individual person as though everybody's only occupation is going to be being an environmentalist mm-hmm. doesn't really benefit anything.
No.
It's like that one phrase of a buddy of mine, too. His mom, he was working his ass off, and his mom made him a really nice plaque. It was a cross-stitch plaque that said, "Don't get so busy making a life. Don't get so busy making a living you forget to make a life. Don't get so busy trying to defend and protect and fight everything off you forget to have fun," in my opinion. Yeah. And most of the shit I do is for fun, and there are ways that you can be environmentally conscious. I mean, some of the paint strippers and stuff are really fucking hateful, But now they start making green strippers that that eco-friendly. They take a little bit longer to work, but they do it, in my opinion, just about the same. So I'll buy some of those. Try to use recycled materials when I can.
Mm-hmm.
But to say, like, you don't give a shit about the environment, no, I'm not going to go live in a tree.
Yeah.
You do what you think is important. I'll do what I think is important.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want me to stop doing what I'm doing to do what you want me to do, then let me tell you what you need to stop doing so you can do what I want you to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that people don't approach when people say, like, when the conversation of you should do it this way, or you should do this, or you should work on this. Well, why don't you stop your life and do it the way I want to do it, and then I'll stop my life and do it the way you want me to do it.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to want that because everybody's right. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. I think we have time for segments. We should make a chime, a tone, a jingle for segments.
Yeah.
What?
You're the musician.
Jingle bells.
No, not jingle bells. A jingle for segment.
Oh. Oh.
Motherfucking segments. Boom! Just happened. You're welcome. All right. Last time we did favorites. We'll hold off doing favorites. We got 1 minute of stuff Rachel hates. You ready, Rachel? And go.
So I have this weird thing about parking lots. I hate it when the parking lot is empty and somebody parks right next to my car. I'm like, really? Come on. Of all these fucking parking spots, you gotta park next to my fucking car. Come on. Did you feel my truck was being alone? Or what? My truck's fine. It doesn't need company. Leave me the fuck alone. Go find your own damn parking spot.
They
No.
did. Right next to you.
Yeah. I don't fucking get it. What are you laughing?
Just
I want to laugh too.
fucking parking lot. Laying around the city, taking up fucking spaces. You seen these 4-tiered bastards existing? This asshole parking next to me. Oh, that was a minute. So, in summary, assholes that park next to you in an empty parking lot.
Yeah.
All right, you could do more than one when we have a minute.
No.
You have a whole minute.
I like the one at a time.
All right, cool.
Because it's going to get me fired up if I keep going.
All right. And last YouTube video you watched / enjoyed.
Washed.
Watched.
Worst.
I need elocution lessons. Sorry.
Dale. Hey, Tubbs, why don't you go first?
I've been watching these videos by because I watch a lot of Alex Steele's videos.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as they come out, I watch them. But hand tool restoration or hand tool rescue, I think it's called. Let me look it up because I don't want to lie. This dude is pretty legit. It is called Hand Tool Rescue. He takes like really old vintage hand tools, in some case newer ones, and he restores them. A hand crank grinder, champion blower, a Stanley hand crank pistol something or other, a traditional hand plane. This last one was a wallpaper trimmer, and just the detail, the amount of care he puts into it to go from raggedy old looking thing to brand new, I think is really cool, and that's kind of why I like working on stuff, is because it's taking it all the way down to nothing, like every part individually, cleaning it, painting it, coating it, whatever, and then putting it all back together. I really like that. I really like the videos he makes, and he's not like it's not like some professional shop. Not that he's not professional. It's not in like a crazy wood shop where he has all these different tools. He has a bunch of really nice tools and a bunch of really nice equipment, but it's him just getting to it. Like that one dude, Primitive Technology. There's not a whole lot of talking in it. It's just down to business, down to the nitty gritty, and I really enjoy watching that dude work.
That's cool.
He's very good at what he does.
To check it out.
Who's next?
Dale.
I went first, C's.
YouTube videos. One YouTube channel I've been watching quite a bit lately is DSLR Guide. It's a guy has a lot of really good information about cinematography with DSLR cameras and a lot of good info on how to make high quality videos and movies and stuff with kind of the least amount of stuff the average person would have. So
That's cool.
I like it.
Nice.
Good info.
Mm-hmm.
It helps me improve on my sculpting videos.
Cool.
Dig it.
Rachel?
I've actually been listening to a podcast on YouTube called Making It, and it's with Jimmy DiResta, Bob Claggett from I Like to Make Stuff, and I'm forgetting the other guy's name, but he's from the Drunken Woodworker, also / Make Something TV, and I like listening to them because I've watched a bunch of their
Is it
videos.
a video podcast?
I think the recent ones, they've been on since 2014.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. But it's so I've been watching their videos for quite a while since I started getting into the woodworking, and so I kind of put them on a pedestal, which I try not to do with people. But when I hear them talk about like, oh well, I went and bought this tool and I put it on a credit card. I'm like, what? You actually had to go out and buy something? I'm like, because I think that companies automatically just send them shit, and I'm like, what? You had to go buy something? I'm like, you're another human being too, and so I don't know. It's just interesting to hear. Exactly, it's just interesting to hear somebody's story or their everyday life when you've watched them on YouTube. You look at them differently, and they're like, well, I came from this, and I've only been doing it for this long. And it's like, fucking really? Because you act like you've been doing it since you were popped out of your mom's womb. And I'm like, so I don't know.
It's gotta hurt to pop out of a one with wood chunks.
It would. Could you clap?
I just picture a little miter saw, or miter box and a handsaw. Sucks for mom.
Mm-hmm. So
I took that way too far. I'm sorry.
Fistful of sandpaper.
Oh. Ew.
Too far?
It's to slow the exit. Well, this is the last episode of the podcast. Thanks for listening.
So I like listening to their podcast for that aspect. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah. And that's all the segments we have, unless you guys don't have any more favorite music. Let's do just music this time. Next song. Rachel, think of one song that people listening should listen to immediately.
Oh, God.
Let me grab my phone.
What was that didgeridoo, dude?
Have this in your life.
Didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo.
Oh, what's my phone? I wrote it down. Hold on.
Mitchell Cullen?
No, Hang Massive.
Oh.
Well, Mitchell Colon too,
Yeah.
as well. Both of them.
He plays guitar and didgeridoo at the same time.
Yes. Mitchell, Mitchell, colon, Cullen. Awesome musician. Plays guitar and didgeridoo at the same time. Does he sing too or no?
I think so. Looks like it.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Dale?
I was.
Song.
I don't know. Song.
Wolves by Nathan Gray. I really like that song.
Nathan Gray, I know that name.
He still is the lead singer for a band called Boy Sets Fire, which I was never a fan of that band. I never liked their music. It's not my type. but he started his own side project called the Nathan Gray Collective.
I can't play it. Never mind.
It's good music. I like it.
I'll listen to it. You, Tubbs?
For me, I think you should immediately drop what you're doing and listen to I Need Never Get Old by Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats.
Mm.
That's an awesome song.
That
And
is
it puts me in a really good mood.
And the music video is pretty funny too.
The music
check
video is
that
pretty
out.
funny. But listen to the song before you watch the video. It's a beautiful song.
Moose, do you have any music?
Cats?
She is out.
That laser
Well,
Yeah.
wore out.
that's it for us here at the Work in Progress podcast. You won't see us and we won't see you, but we'll be here next time. That's how we do. Word. Do you have anything else? Sorry. I was sliding out looking in the mic
Just
passionately.
check us out on Instagrams and YouTubes and
Facebooks. We don't have a Twitter.
yeah.
We don't tweet anything. We don't tweet things.
Oh, twatter.
We don't really post on Instagram either.
Yeah. What?
We should post more on Instagram. You guys
Yeah.
should send me stuff you work on. Progress pics.
Yeah.
And I'll post them on the Instagram.
Okay.
Why we're talking about this on the podcast? Not a clue, but we're here.
Okay.
You've made it this far. Behind the scenes.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.